Ladies and gentlemen, it's time! Brought to you by Ringside, the best in boxing. It's the Zapata Brand Boxing Podcast. Introducing first, fighting out of the Zapata Brand Studio in Berwick, Pennsylvania. He is an expert in boxing and bagels, George Zapata!
Hey guys, welcome to the Zapata Brand Boxing Podcast, brought to you by Ringside. Go to ringside.com/podcast, and you too can get upwards of 40% off selected brands. Well, folks, my most requested guest is back. Brandon Bulletproof Glanton joins us. Brandon, how are you?
I'm amazing. How you doing?
Good. It's been a little bit since we've gotten talking. How's the family? How's mom doing?
Amazing. They actually sold a house and building a new one, so they're doing pretty good right now.
Still in Atlanta?
Yep. Atlanta.
Oh, good. Last time we spoke, you were just about ready to go. You came back from Russia with the WBO International Championship, but since then,
from France.
you won you came back with the WBO one. That was before I talked to you. Then you went to Russia just recently, competed for the WBA International Championship, and came back with that hardware too.
Absolutely. You know how we do.
No, and again, as promised, you come back on to talk to me about the fight. Brandon, it seems to me like you keep having to go overseas to get these fights. Where's your ranking now with the WBA?
So officially, it's just number 3, but I think that'll be moving up pretty soon.
So why? So when you're getting these you're not automatically slotted in as a certain spot?
Well, hey, nothing in boxing is for certain. Things happen, mistakes happen. You just kind of gotta go with it. But we know what happened, and the whole world knows what happened. So I'm quite sure that'll be corrected pretty soon.
Could you elaborate on that a little bit, or no? As far as what happened?
Well, obviously, we got to speak highly of Gulamarian. He was the former WBA champion. He lost to Zerto. That put Alexei Igorov at number 2. And it was my belief that upon beating him, especially knocking him out in his homeland, that would become my position. And I think it will, but obviously, you still got to respect Gulamarian. He's fighting to get back where he was. And, we'll see what happens. So, as of right now, he's the number 2. Dorticos, Cuba, he's the number 1. And so things will be right very soon.
Well, here's the thing, Brandon. I mean, those names out there are regular. They're not Brandon Bulletproof Glanton. Okay. So, and I'm not saying that because you're in front of me here, but why would they not want to go with someone with a name like yours, as opposed to someone who, to be quite honest with you, 30-some-year-old Cuban is not going to sell here in the United States? Do you think it's more of the financial reason, or is it a safe bet that you might want to sidestep Glanton and go to an easier path?
Well, in this situation, Dorticos was owed a fight for a while, so he's getting his fight. Now, if he doesn't take the terms of whatever Golden Boy offers, then he have to July 31st to do that. If he doesn't like it, which I'm sure he'll accept it, being that he doesn't have a promoter, it'll go to purse bid. If it goes to purse bid, he could potentially lose the fight if nobody bids on him. But sometimes as fighters, we tend to feel like our value is higher than what the world is willing to put on us. So he may decide to do that, but as of right now, he has till July 31st to reach a deal with Golden Boy.
Here, it's funny you said that about the finances in boxing. I was just speaking with Percy Crawford about this. Does it not seem that the finances in boxing are starting to dwindle down a little bit because of the piracy and the lack of a superstar, so to speak, to put on the top of the card and have the others filter in, like the Don King cards of the 90s. Do you see that as something that you're worried about? Or do you yourself feel that you got to put yourself in the forefront? You have a great social media at Team Bulletproof there on Instagram. Great social media, great. And do you feel like it's in your court, or do you feel it's in the promoter's court to start supporting some of your fighters?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. It's kind of a two-part question there. First, I mean, the money's always been in boxing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the money just moves around. So obviously, right now, Turkish Ali, they're doing a lot out there and trying to get things going out there. So that's where a lot of people are trying to get right now. The other part is a fighter has to get off that high horse and do the work himself. I
Mm-hmm.
do think promoters should be doing more. And some, like you got, man, Eddie Hearn is always blasting guys. He's always, giving you your just dues on camera. Now, what he does behind closed doors, I wouldn't know. But
Mm-hmm.
he makes sure that fighters that are fighting on his card, especially under his platform, they get their recognition. So, but I think mainly it's up to that fighter to go to work first and foremost to win the fights.
Mm-hmm.
If you can win the fights in devastating fashion, right? But with the era we live in, if you want to be successful, you have to have some type of social media platform. It's just what it is, and it's almost like a necessary evil.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have something, and I'm learning that. And as much as I get in there, I'll fight anybody. People still want to see the social media. They might not tune into an 11 round war in Russia, but they'll tune in for the knockout real quick.
Right, right. Now, when you went over to Russia, this last time, and I texted you. I texted you to see how you were, and you said, "Hey, I'm fighting on Friday." I didn't realize you were fighting that soon. Did that come together quick? Because I thought you were fighting in Philly, and the next thing you know, you're fighting down over in Russia.
Yeah, so we did it. It was maybe a little less than a month and a half, maybe about a month and a week,
Mm-hmm.
and we had been discussing it, but nothing was inked because of other complications with the Russian side. So, but yeah, once we got it done, for me it was almost immediate. Like, okay, get to work, go in there and win. That's it. So I'm happy to have gotten the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to going back to Russia. I'm
You,
sure things will be a little bit better than they were last time. So
now, let me ask you this: you're becoming like a road warrior, similar to like Glenn Johnson back in the
yeah.
day. Does that bother you? That you or let me rephrase that. Not that it bothers you, but you're going out, putting the work, and you're going overseas. Um, you could not. Your back is against the wall to begin with because their home. It's their hometown. That's number one. So you have to go put on a show like you did last time, and the respect you showed after knocking him out, helping him come back up. That showed a lot of sportsmanship and respect there. How were you treated over there?
You know what? I won't lie to you. Um, Man, the ride over was good. Walking through the airport, taking pictures with the belt, the WBA belt I already had, was good. Taking pictures with all the kids and different people, different boxing fans, was great until I got to customs.
Oh,
Customs
really?
literally raided my belongings, my whole team's belongings, but especially mine. You know, dogs literally going in my suitcase and rambling through it, dog hair all over my clothes,
Okay.
uh, threatened with fines over my supplements and man, it was rough. It was rough. I literally I had a I had a rant, I'll say, on Instagram, like, you know what? I'm not doing this fight. I'm going home. I contacted Roy. I told him what was going on, and thank God for Roy, because man, that dude's an angel. I told you last time, he's an angel. So Man, it was really rough. But outside of the airport, I was treated beautifully. I even caught up with Sozlan Azbarev.
Mhm.
Showed love. He helped me get ready for the fight. Helped me with sparring. Coach Ali gave me a place to train while I was there. Also gave me sparring with different fighters. So food was amazing. Service was amazing. It was only the airport where it was a bit rough.
So let me ask you, and I don't want to get political or that. Do you find that maybe possibly you were profiled?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And, I'm the last guy to, I don't know this guy. Oh, I lost because I was black, or I lost because I was no, but definitely going through the airport, everything was. It couldn't have been better. It was picture perfect. People were doing what they do in every airport, putting their items in the scanners, and customs weren't even looking. They were talking and on their phones. But when they saw my teammate and I, they didn't even look down passports. And I'm like, all right, this is gonna be interesting. It wasn't until after I found out, if you look like I do, and you have an event coming over there, it's not the best idea to kind of put it on display.
Mhm.
And I was, I'm just me, regular glasses and my belt. You know what I mean? With my whole team got a gear on. It was nothing out of the ordinary, but I guess to them it was very out of the ordinary. So,
Okay, so all right, so now did that bother you enough to rattle you at all? Did it make it? Well, put it this way: was it a more of a positive motivation or negative? Now, at first it was negative. I get that, but did you say, "Hey, listen, I'm coming here now," because you knock the guy out the way you do, you might not get out. Not to, you know what I'm saying? You
yeah.
know, did that? What kind of a spin did that put on it?
Um, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, it was definitely concerning.
Mm,
That was actually I talked to my coach about that before. I'm like, "Hey, man, I knocked this guy out. What happens? You know,
yeah.
we're basically we've been in a proxy war forever, and now you saw what Putin had to say. So, you know, I was concerned. But at the end of the day, I got a job to do.
Right.
This guy brought me here to do my job. It happens to be in Russia.
Yeah.
I'm not in the military. I'm not a soldier. I'm not fighting. I don't even really have a couple of people might get mad, but I don't. I'm not strong in the politics. I'll say that. So
Mhm.
I um I was concerned.
Okay.
The one thing that kind of kept me kind of stable was that Russians typically they're fighting people. You know, they respect fighting. Period. Now bad decisions here and there, okay, it happens, but genuinely they respect fighters. So that was kind of like my saving grace. But when it first happened in the airport, brother, I tell you this, I was like, oh, send me home. I literally started looking up plane tickets. Like, yeah, I'm out of here. Like, I'm not dealing with this. I don't have to be treated like that, you know. But
Mhm.
sitting in that hotel room and the fighter kicks in, she's like, this guy, nah, I'm gonna knock him out. Then I'm gonna smile and I'm gonna call Drago's name to the crowd, and that's what I did. So it worked out.
Well, it worked. It worked out for you in that scenario, and we're glad you're back. That's for sure. But we got to get you more on this side of the pond. We can't have you going overseas. This is where you have to make your name, I believe. Or Turkey Al Sheikh throw some cash your way, get you over to Saudi Arabia.
Let's do
Now,
it.
yeah. Well, that comes to my next point. There's three champions out there. At those three champions, Turkey Al Sheikh likes the big guys. He very rarely will he put anything under 140 on the show, and really under 160. He likes the heavyweights and he likes everyone there. You're a cruiserweight, could possibly go to bridgeweight. Definitely, I see you down as a heavyweight. Where do you one of these three out of the three main belts? I said WBC, WBA, IBF. Which fighter would you prefer to fight?
In order,
Take money out of it. Take money out of it.
make money out of it. Well, if you're asking, I'll say I don't want to say his name wrong. Noel Gever for the WBC. He's probably the lightest touch. Um, then you go back with it's- uh, yeah,
Oh shit.
and there's no disrespect intended, but I've been doing this a long time, just like he has.
Mhm,
So next, Zerto.
mhm,
For obvious reasons. He's a heck of a fighter, but he moved up from light heavyweight. I think he pretty much picking up what I'm putting down there.
mhm.
And Chris Billum, which I don't think is for me specifically, is a much harder fight. I think it's more of a it's we know how that's gonna go. He's gonna fight. I'm gonna fight, and we're gonna see what
Mhm.
happens. But we already know what's gonna happen. So in that order, Gever, Zerto, and Billum.
Now, one missing there is Jai Apatai from that list. I saw his last fight. He didn't look great. This is where I think you have an advantage against Jai Apatai. Jai Apatai fades pretty fast. Round 6 to 8, he usually fades, which is what happened in the fight. He touched up the guy in the first couple rounds, but then it was hard for him. You, on the other hand, get stronger as the fights go on. You're if you ever guys go on his Instagram, go to Team Bulletproof on Instagram. Watch Brandon's workouts. It motivates me. And that's hard to do, but it motivates me because I ain't getting up and doing any kind of work anymore. But it motivates me to get up and move. And the way you put everything together in a nice little package, it shows the hard work you're doing. The other advantage you have, Jai Apatai, huge puncher, you got the chin to back it up. Would Jai Apatai be someone, because I think he's a Saudi guy. I really do. I think they're a guy that they're going to put over there Saudi. That would be someone who I think you should look at. Is that someone before or after any of these guys? Would you take that one?
You know what? I'm not like the typical fighter. Who get on here telling lies. I respect I respect Jai Apatai, and I hate if I'm saying his name wrong, but I legit respect him. I do believe I end up knocking him out, but he didn't look great his last fight. But you understand, Bradis is a heck of a fighter.
Mhm,
He was not champion for so long for no reason. People gotta remember who he's in there with.
mhm.
Also, this is a guy, and just the way I look at things, this is a guy who had his jaw broken, and we think the second round of the first fight.
Yes.
I mean, articles, yeah. So when you go back, you not only win, but you have your jaw broken in the second round, and told you only have 2 fights left, and you come beat this guy again. No, you know what? Screw beating him the second time. You got through the fight and won, boxed him
Right.
to a decision with a broken jaw. I don't know how many times it's been done in history, but that for me, it tells me something about him.
Mhm,
Um, Obviously, yeah, he does slow down quick, and we all get tired.
mhm,
Um, but the only way to know is if it really happened. But out of the cruiserweight champions, I'll say he has the most of my respect
mhm.
because he shows that he really wants it,
Right.
and he's been hurt a few times, and he manages. My football coach used to say, "Find a way to win." He always finds a way to win. So I
Mhm,
definitely respect him. I would, if I had my choice, because he's a southpaw, um, and because I don't get much sparring as it is, I would have to put him last for the simple fact I think I want to say he's the youngest one. He's the fastest one, and again, I need time to find that southpaw work. Unless somebody out there can let me know where they are. And normally I'm the southpaw killer. But
mhm.
when you talking about world class, world level, you really got to take that into consideration. So,
You talk about Jai's injuries. What was your worst injury you had? Because I saw on Instagram you said something about what happens when two hooks collide. I thought maybe someone tore their bicep, but I wasn't quite sure.
oh no, that was
What was
just
that?
for social media. That was just for social media.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
What?
because everybody knows I spar with heavyweights. So, but
Okay.
the thing is, I punch harder than a lot of them. So, both of our left hooks caught. And
Okay.
so, I just thought it'd be a good viral post there.
I just thought maybe some. What's been your worst injury?
My worst injury since boxing. Um, yeah, no, I'm bulletproof, so I don't have to worry about that. Hey,
Oh
everything
God.
I've done to myself, I've been blessed to all the injuries I've ever had. I did to myself a foot injury from overtraining. I broke my hand knocking a guy out. I didn't know it
Mhm.
was broken and kept training, kept fighting, hurt it again. Found out that you've been training on a broken hand and wrist. So that was earlier in my career, but I
Okay.
would have to say the right hand,
Okay.
but yeah.
But other than
Uh,
that, you've been pretty healthy, and that's a testament to number one, your diet. Number two, your training habits. You can't just
Absolutely.
pick it up and go in there and say, "Well, I'm off for a week. I'm off for two." Like you just fought recently on Team Combat League. Okay, and you fought a guy. That guy had to be a heavyweight. Were you fighting heavyweight?
Yeah, so I fight it for TCL. I fight at heavyweight. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. But you were still in shape. You know what I mean? Like you still kept yourself in shape. And it's a kind of a, I'm not going to say it's a stay busy fight for you guys, but it keeps you guys working and it
It's
keeps you
just
out front.
something. It's just
Yeah.
something, And for me, I honestly, I love the team aspect. I love working out with the guys. Um, but a biggest thing, it's a small dose of the lights every week or every other week whenever we fight. It's a small dose of the lights with lackluster heavyweights because everybody, I can't hide it. People know I'm going to heavyweight pretty soon, so that's
Right.
no secret, And for me, it's just Chinese conditioning. Just stay in there. I got off the plane from Russia, went home, woke up the next day, was in the gym. So
Yeah.
it,
Yeah. Well,
it
that's
was
what I mean.
nothing.
It's an easy transition for you to go to heavyweight now. Do you have problems keeping weight on?
Listen, it's about 105 in this gym right now. And in some camps, yeah, that has been a major issues. But my typical walk around weight is 225, 230. So I cut to go to cruiserweight. And I fill it back up just fine. So when these guys get in the ring with me, they have no idea how I did it or what happens, but that's a shout out to the fight doctors there because they're the ones who make this happen. So I'm ready. I'm ready for whatever. It's the fans and the public and the interviewers who make more of it. To us, it's just a fight.
Hmm.
Obviously, yeah, there are weight classes for a reason, but remember, I was to be 327 pounds.
I know. I just saw
So
a picture again. I saw a picture again of you today. I can't believe the transformation you made. You're talking defensive. You're a defensive lineman, right?
yeah, yep, the in and O's, yep.
I can't believe the transition that you've made. I'm like, man, I got a shot then. I got a shot to get back in shape.
Of course. I'm telling you, hey, get with me off air. I promise you. Give me 30 days. You'll be a different man.
So you're talking a lot about your trainers and your conditioning coaches and what have you. What does your trainer mean to you?
Oh no, without Jason Jones, you can forget about it. Yeah, you can forget about it.
And
Yeah,
when you first now was Jason with you in Russia?
absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
Jason isn't he's not a social media guy. He doesn't care about all the
Hmm.
accolades and this and that. He just wants to get in there and win fights. He doesn't care about Instagram and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, Jason Jones, that's my brother right there, man. Like there's no. I made it clear, like, hey, bro, what you doing? Don't get sick. Come on, man. Hey, come on, go. Hey, don't get. Come on, man. You all right? Damn, bro, what you do to your hand? Cause I make it known he is a necessity. The guy is a boxing man. The way he puts things together, we work very well together, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
And the reason why I put it that way is because if they don't know, your coach is in a wheelchair.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
and do you how do you find the communication with you two? Is it because the way you click on a mental level, or does he describe it so well that he could just do it like he's painting a picture?
That part. That man
Mhm,
knows how to talk to me. You know what I mean?
mhm,
And anybody, I haven't seen him fail with a fighter yet. I do. I have told him that. All right, for you to be, this person's trainer or anybody's trainer, they're gonna need some type of intelligence because something. You know what I mean? But he um he knows how to put things together. He doesn't mind me asking questions. He
mhm.
doesn't mind me telling him, "Hey man, I don't agree with this. I'm gonna do it anyway. Hey, fuck, I think you're wrong, bro, but I'm gonna try it." Or he'll say, give me a command and say, "Oh bullshit," but I'll do it, and it works. You know what I mean? So I trust that man with my life.
And
And
that's really key to trust your trainer. If you can't trust your trainer, you go back to the corner. And let's just say, for argument's sake, you have a cut and you can't trust your cut man, you got a problem. So now you're with a guy who you're training with on a daily basis, and he's
Mhm.
the one who's got to, he's got to have confidence in you, so you believe in yourself. That's the reality. Because
Yeah.
even when you're fighting, if you don't have confidence in yourself, you need that person to
And see
trust
with
to have faith in you.
Jay, he says it all the time, man. He's like, man, I believe in y'all more than you believe in yourself. And
Yep,
I just look at him like, all right, dog. And here we go again. And the new. So
I know. It,
I for me, when he's in my corner, I literally feel unstoppable. You can't hurt me. I'm not getting tired. I'm not gonna miss a beat. And like, and I know obviously I've lost some rounds, sure,
mhm,
Um, but I don't blame my trainer for that. I blame me. You know
mhm,
what I mean? When Jay is working with me, it's almost like he's got a video game controller, and he inputs the commands, and I just go. It's been fights, even in Russia, like, and some guys might call it BS. Maybe other fighters might understand, but it goes black, and it's like, hey, I hear the command. You know what to do. I can literally tell how he wants me to throw a combination depending on the intensity of his voice. Like, how he stressing certain numbers, or how certain moves. And the man is a magic man. That's why I literally call him Professor X. So he's definitely a necessity to my career. It's my trainer, that's my friend, that's my brother. And I rule the day for I rule the day for anybody that crosses him, that's for sure.
I saw on your Instagram when you came back from Russia with the belt. Mikey Garcia reached out to you. I know you have a relationship with Mikey Garcia.
Yeah.
There's another guy who believes in you too. I mean, so the common denominator here, the common denominator is not that it's not just the trainers. It's you yourself. So don't take yourself lightly on this, because it takes a lot for a trainer to tell a fighter to do something and to have them do it with all that trust in them. You got to be a good listener too. And
Yeah.
if you're not a good listener,
What they say, you know, and every sport I play, um, I've always been told that I'm extremely coachable. I don't see how hard it is. If you say left, go left. If you say right, go right. It's just I think about it like this: whether it's football, boxing, track, wrestling. If you're my guy, I represent you. You represent me. You want me to win. It behooves you to tell me what to do and to be right about it. It behooves me to do what you say do because I want to win.
mhm,
I tell Jay, if I do half of what you say and I lose, it's on me. If I do everything I say, everything you say, and we lose, it's on you. So doing everything he said, I haven't lost. The two decisions, instead of going at it like, oh, they robbed me, this and that, despite my feelings, I can look at each of those fights and see some things that I did wrong. I can't go back and correct it in those fights. I can only correct it in future fights. So
Mhm.
two things that two fights when he stressed major things and Brandon just didn't do. In the eyes of many, that might not matter, but in my eyes, it's like, no, it's something you did wrong. You didn't do everything you said, and it's like that. So you gotta, when you point the finger, it's 3 pointing back, right? So you gotta look at you.
Well, let me ask you this, Brandon. And I know the old cliche is, "I have no regrets." I have no regrets. Up to this point in your career, I want you to remove that. I have no regrets. Are there some regrets that you wish you would have done, or some way you which you would have performed, that you look back now and again, you can only correct now. Is there anything that sticks out in your mind?
In my
And it could be
athletic career, or
anything.
my athletic career, or my boxing career.
It could be anything. But what I'm saying is, because boxing and life go hand in hand. If your outside life is piss poor, your boxing career is going to be piss poor. It's the same way, because boxing is so mental, it affects you inside the ring, whether you think it or not. So when I mean regrets, I mean like, okay, if I would have maybe stayed home this one night, I wouldn't have done this. And I'm talking about a guy who's maybe gone to prison or whatever. Not you, but a guy said, "Hey, if I wouldn't have gone out with my friends and been in the car with the guy who robbed something, I would have been where I'm at." Are there any decisions that you've made? And I say this because a lot of the youngsters that listen to my podcast always look at the fighters that they want to be, and they look at people, and I think you're a tremendous role model to those people. And they always look like, why are they where they're at? What decisions did they make? And yes, everyone's made mistakes, but what decisions did they make? And they say, okay, I regret this decision, but I turned it into X.
You know what? I regret not having the same mentality that I had with boxing with football.
Mhm.
Now, don't get me wrong. I was a heck of a football player, and that was the thing. Especially in my high school. You had two grades, right? D line had the execution grade, the accuracy grade, and then you have your effort grade. And if you don't grade out a 70 on your accuracy, you don't play. If you don't grade out a 90 in your effort, you don't play. Now I always graded out, especially in the effort part, but boxing did something to me. It was mine. I
Mhm.
literally walked away from a wow, it was like a 15-year career in football in one day with boxing because it belonged
Mhm.
to me. And I took that same mentality and put it in to boxing. But now that you asked me that question, I realized it wasn't the same. This is a different guy. So if I would have had this playing football, then hey, maybe who knows? I personally don't believe it would have happened just because I believe whether you say you can or you can't, you're already right. I was a heck of a football player in high school. I was a heck of a football player at a D2 HBCU. You know, and like I know, you got D2, D1. It's a difference. And you got D1 in the league, freaks. So in my head, hindsight, I don't think I ever really believed I could go to the league. I don't think my family wanted that for me. I think I kind of wanted that for me, but I didn't believe it. You know what I mean? I was not 6'5" and run a 4.2. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I don't have a 60-inch vert. So I was a very explosive, very heavy, very strong uh, defensive lineman, and I was able to do some great things in high school and at a D2 college level. But I regret not knowing that Bulletproof was inside here.
Well, then let me ask you what one of my kids asked me. One of my kids that I was at the gym with, and I told him, "Hey, I'm going to have Brandon Glanton on." And he's a big football player. He's going to D1, matter of fact.
Yeah, right on.
What is, and now boxing and football kind of going to have the same mentality. But now that you've grown and you're a grown man, you're grown now, it's your career, what you're doing. what would you tell him is the single most important thing that he should put first as far as his athletics, as to where he can excel the most at? What would be his easiest path that would say, okay, you have this down on lock. Now you've now swung the advantage to getting to the league, because that's where he wants to go, to be a professional. Where would be the one thing that you would say, concentrate on this because you are a professional? What is to get to be a professional? What does he have to have on lock to make him go to that next level? Whether he's actually a very good boxer too, actually. So
Yeah.
he's it's very good. He would have probably won the gloves if he got D1 scholarship and they told him he couldn't fight in the gloves. So he probably would have won and may have turned pro. He could do it. I could tell you that right now. He could have done it. What would he have to concentrate on? Or do you find, okay, this is the most important thing that you have to concentrate on in order to get to succeed on the level that you're at? Is there something that pitfalls that he has to watch out for? What does he concentrate on to avoid those pitfalls?
Educate himself on not only his job but everybody else's job on the field. If you know, is he offensive player or a defensive player?
He's a defensive player, linebacker, outside linebacker.
So if he knows how to read those plays, he knows how to go get in the film room and kind of find tendencies in the offense. I mean everything down to how much really say how much pressure these linemen are putting on their fingers. Tendencies with the quarterback. Is he licking his hand every time before he's about to have to throw the ball? Is he everything? How he moves? Well, everything. Education. I think education, just like in boxing, like I tell you, if we're in the same weight class, you put a Shakur Stevenson there with a Brandon Glanton, you know how that goes down. Brandon Glanton might retire because that guy's brain, that boy is intelligent, man. I think brain over bronze all day long. I would take it 8 days a week and twice on Sunday. So if he can educate himself, not only in his position, right, but if you because so when I played football, I never really paid attention to the coverages. I didn't know what was going on behind me. I knew what my job was,
Mhm.
right? And I
Right.
was always focused on what do I do? How can I make this right? How do I do me? I I never took the time, kind of like on the offensive side of the ball, you got the quarterback and the tackle. They're normally the two checked in. They know what's going on. Sometimes the center is really checked in too, but most times it's that quarterback and that tackle. They know everybody. They know what everybody's supposed to do because they're driving, right? So I would tell him that if he sees this, definitely get in the film room, man. Tendencies over and over and over. And it's just gonna get boring, but you gotta do it over and over and then do it again. Because when somebody makes a mistake, you can capitalize on it, especially being outside linebacker. As I guess that means he can run a bit too, huh?
Oh, he can run. Oh, he's big.
Yeah, so definitely, man, definitely know everybody's job. I'm not saying you can do their job, but you can make corrections within your own. And you only got what you got an average of 3 to 5 seconds. 5 seconds
Mhm.
being a long play.
That's long.
Yeah, so learn everyone's job. Learn tendencies. Learn everything. Pick it up. Everything. Study, 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 study. I cannot stress that enough. Study. God, study. Please study, man.
All
That is
right.
the
So
most important thing.
that being said, on that note, I have one more from a kid who's just making his amateur debut. And then there's two things that he'll say. So obviously in the amateur is a little different because he'd asked a question similar to that. But amateur is a little different. You don't know who you're fighting. Although on Instagram and stuff, you could actually find some of these kids fighting and you could
Hmm.
pick up, like you said, tendencies. His question was more like this, and it's hard to explain for me to explain it to him. Um, what when you're getting hit, because of course I'm just the coach. Yeah, I'm just a coach. So he's gonna I could tell him, hey, look how many fights I had or whatever. He ain't gonna listen to me. It's like my son. My son will listen to somebody else, but he won't listen to me. But when you get hit, what is the mentality that you have to have when you're under attack? Like, what do you do? Are you, hey, I'm firing back? Okay, hey, let's get in the shell. He wants to know what happens in your mind mentally in order for you to have the success that you've had. Because he's never been hit flush yet. So,
Fuck you, pay me.
mhm.
You know, like I don't listen. I don't. I'm not into that. I'm not on punching bag, man. You know what I mean? It takes it does something to me when I see myself getting hit like that, when I see other people getting hit like that. Like, listen, we're not designed to do this, right? We break our hands because we're not supposed to be punching. We get brain damage because we're not supposed to get hit. We're not designed to be beat on, right? We're human beings. We're not animals. So when you hit me, if I'm still standing, fuck you, pay me. You now. Okay, I'm already been hit. I got to get something for that.
Mhm.
Like I take that. I take it personal. Like when I'm people like, I know I knock people out, but it's like you're not gonna put your hands on me, man. Like
Mhm.
and if I'm still standing here, I'm gonna do something about it. I don't like bullies. I don't like um I don't like people taking unnecessary damage. That's why I help these guys up, man. I know what I'm doing to them. It's my job. I have to. But when it's over, it's done. But when you first catch that impact, right then and there, you felt that. You know what's up. Even the ones you don't even blink, because I
Okay.
get punched in the face. I don't even blink anymore because I'm already thinking like, all right, you're gonna pay for that. Maybe not this round, maybe not next round, but you're gonna remember you hit me, and I'm gonna get it back. So you have to be ready. Almost like that's why it's better. Like how people they see a big puncher and they open your eyes, see it, because if you can see it, you can do something about it, or maybe just after. But getting hit like that, that's a long-winded answer. But when I get hit, I take it personal, and I'm immediately thinking about how I can hit you back harder. Because I'm not a fan of brain damage. I'm not a fan of um. I mean, even a guy I fought, David Light. He had
Yeah.
blood clots after the fight. You know, in my sane mind, I wouldn't do that to him,
Right.
but it's my job.
Mhm.
So if it's me or you, then it's got to be me. Like it is what it is. But that's the mindset that I would tell him to take on. If it's you or me, then I'm gonna make it home. I'm not gonna. You're not carrying me away. You put me. Think about it, right? They call us monsters. We knock people out. We hurt people. Doing backflips in the ring. We're happy about it. We splattered this guy. He's shaking, sees him. Right? They call us the monsters. But you pay me to put me in a box with thousands of people in the crowd, millions of people watching around the world, and everybody's making money, and I get paid last. But I'm the animal. No, you the animal. The promoters, the managers, and I mean no offense, but the fans, those are the animals. So when you ask me how this young man should take getting hit, he should take it very personal and realize that every time you get hit, you're losing brain cells. Every time you lose a brain cell, you don't get those back. And how old is he?
He's 15.
Yeah, so his frontal cortex isn't even all the way developed yet. So he needs to take that very personal and make sure whoever hits him can't hit him again. That's what I would tell him.
Well, it's a very powerful explanation. My question to you would be, where does that come from in you? Because you know what I mean? It's very strange to hear someone talk that way when you're, but that comes from a different mentality. but you came from a good family. You came from a good background. Where does that come from you?
Man, simple answer. Man, my mother is. I tell her all the time, she's where I get my fight from. And my daddy ain't taking no shorts either. He ain't taking no wooden nickels. But that fire, um, man, maybe you're right. I can feel it. Like I don't like people putting their hands on me, man. So
Hmm.
you know, or people I care about, So my mother, I would have to say my mother, she's one of the best fighters I've ever seen in my life. My mom can flat out fight, and I'm proud of it. But I just, my mom. So she had this thing, right? I remember the first time I got beat up. I go in the house and crying, and she's like, "Boy, get out of my house. Matter of fact, you better go win. If you don't win, I'm gonna whoop your tail when you come back in here." So I go outside. She's coming down the steps. I get beat up again. She watch. I get home, get my whooping, and that's just how it was. Like you don't lose, you don't cry to me. And she tell me all the time, like, well, my brother, she said, I raised two boys. I don't have little girls. Y'all figure it out. So,
Well,
but
your mom is the sweetest woman I know. I can't
yeah,
see it from
right.
her. Honest, I can't see that from her. Honestly.
Listen, the first time I heard, listen, I, I didn't hear, I didn't even now. I'm 32 years young, and I hear my mother curse, and I'm like, but listen, whew, fire, fire, telling you.
So the DNA is inside her that went into Bulletproof Brandon Glanton. Now, Brandon, before we wrap up here, I want to ask you a few things. Number one, where are we going the next couple months? What are we looking at? What's in the works for Brandon Glanton?
You know what? Um, Wherever they send me, to kind of piggyback on what you said about having to travel, I've been, you know, one of the first coaches I had, Coach Tito Lopez. God bless him, rest. He's resting, but he told me you are gonna have to learn on the job because secret. I started boxing late. I just started boxing
Mhm.
yesterday. I was
Yep.
21. So he told me you're gonna have to learn on the job, and he said, you're gonna be a journeyman. And back then I didn't know what that means. And as I got older, I
Right.
thought he was saying journeyman like these guys who 10-4. No, he was saying you're gonna have to travel. You're gonna have to get it because
Right.
I don't know. I know I'm sure things are better up in Pennsylvania, but here in Atlanta, you can't become the best staying in Atlanta. You
Mhm.
can't. You gotta travel to different camps. You gotta get out of the country. You gotta ask questions. You gotta contact the Robert Garcias and Mikey Garcias of the world, and you got to go get it, and you can't be afraid to figure out what's out there. You have to travel. So when he told me that, you know, like I said, I didn't really understand, but as I got older, I'm seeing it. I've been doing this. You understand? I went to Kazakhstan and fought Philip Horgovich as my 13th amateur fight. I had no business being there.
Oh, Brandon, you left me here. Let me.
But
There you go. You're back.
oh,
Yep. You said you're back.
yeah. So oh,
You,
you heard what I
you,
said about Philip?
yep. You said you had no business. It cut there.
Yeah,
So you're gonna
yeah.
say
I had
so.
no
Say
business going over
good.
there. I did not belong, and as far as the U.S. was concerned, I was number two behind Cam Awesome at the time. As far as
Hmm.
my experience was concerned, you just started boxing less than a year ago. So, but I was fine. Let's go do it. Let's go do it. I went over there
Hmm.
and I got schooled, but it's my whole career has been traveling. I've had WSB fights, I've had amateur fights all over the place, and now as a pro, you tell me to go to Russia, France, Mexico. It don't matter. I think we're speaking about going to Armenia or back to Russia. I don't. I'm not gonna say I like it, right? Because I would love to be able to fight at home, and more people can come watch. I would say I'm okay with it because once you get inside the square circle, it's like, yeah, I've been here 1,000 times. It's whatever, The fans, when I fight, I can't hear anything except for Jason Jones. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I hear him. I don't know if you listen to the fight, you can hear me talking to him as I'm fighting. I'm literally having a conversation with him. So you can hear it in the ring. Like we are extremely checked in, man. That man. It don't matter where we are in the world. We're gonna travel. What he says, we're gonna travel all over the world, kicking ass or hoping to find an ass kicking. We ain't found it yet. So
Well, that's good. That's good to know. And Brandon, do you think you'll be into the United States sometime by the end of the year to fight?
I think I will.
We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at
Don't
that. We don't want
blink.
to give away too much.
I think I will. I think it's a very, 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 very strong probability that I'll be on the West Coast this year. So y'all don't blink.
Well, Brandon Glanton, I'll call you Bulletproof. Bulletproof, Brandon Glanton, as always, a friend of the show, always comes on when we ask. We really appreciate it. And when you say these things that, this guy's good, your mom, your dad, your coach, whatever, there's a common denominator. Brandon Glanton, you are actually a genuine guy, and it's not just because of the fighter that you are; it's because of the person that you are. I've known you for a little bit now, and I can honestly say you're one of the good people in the sport, who's also very entertaining and very mean when he has to be in the ring. But outside the ring, you're a good dude.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And credit is always nice, man. You say what fighter? No fighter gives himself his gum shield, wraps his own hands, ties his own gloves, gets his own water, right?
Yep.
You have a village of people around you. So although I have to do the work, those people are behind me, putting in their time, effort, energy, money, losing time with their family. So that's why I'll always respect everyone who has anything to do with me because they don't have to do it, right? You can find
Mhm.
a better, or faster, or more intelligent, maybe a better looking or whatever. You can go find in, but you decided to spend that time and energy on me. So I'm gonna do my best with it. I'm gonna make it look good too. So,
And never forget, Mom, one of the nicest women I know. Mrs. Glanton is top. She's top of the hill, right
I'm
there.
quite sure
She
she's gonna
surely
see
is.
it soon. She'll see it.
She better. I'll tell you. I can't believe those stories, but I don't know. I
You'll
guess
be
so.
surprised. Listen,
No,
my
man.
mother was the first person to punch me. Listen, man.
And you haven't been stop getting punch sense. Brandon
Uh,
Glanton, as always, Bulletproof Glanton. Your social media at Team Bulletproof. They're on Instagram. They can follow you. He gets back to you. He's a man of his word. Brandon,
absolutely.
as always, a pleasure to have you on the show.
Always, man. Can't wait to come back.
You'll be back soon. We know on the West Coast.
Absolutely.
You
I
got
ain't
it.
been new.
As always, thanks, Brandon.
All right, later.
Thanks for watching the Zapata Brand podcast. Please subscribe to the podcast and listen where all podcasts are available.